Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, Burning Questions Sellers Edition. Do me a quick favor as we get started. Hit like if it is your first time checking out the GM. Hit subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, as you guys remember, we just got through the Buyers Edition, and now it's time for teams that will be selling at the trade deadline and who they could be moving on from. Just like the Buyers Edition, we're going to go division by division, AFC, NFC, and we'll talk about each team and who could they be uh, getting rid of, so to speak. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's go to the AFC North. Now, I don't know if anybody's going to be a particular seller at the trade deadline only because all four teams are going to be in contention no matter what happens in week number 8. But if there is a team that may have some questions, it's probably going to be the Bengals. Now, why would I say the Bengals? Well, the Bengals have some big money contracts coming up in their wide receiver room. Whether it's Chase, Higgins, or Boyd. They also got some decisions to make going into the future on Joe Mixon, especially them having given what's that quarterback's name? Joe Burrow his big dollar deal. And so they may be willing to get off of a player or two as the trade deadline approaches. I can't say that they will. I can't say that they won't. At this point, I think anything's on the table, but I think week 8 could tell a story if the Bengals will be selling at the trade deadline. All right, let's jump to the AFC East. I think it's going to be the New England Patriots. I think Buffalo, Miami are both in contention to make the playoffs and both in contention to win the division. I think the Jets are going to stay around enough to wait on Aaron Rodgers, believe that or not. And so I could see the Jets making some moves, but I don't think they'll necessarily be sellers. But I think New England could be looking to get off some of the contracts they gave out a couple of years ago with guys like Hunter Henry. Remember, they signed Janu Smith. They could even be willing to move off of Matt Judon because at this point, the truth is they're not really a contender and keeping a high dollar edge rusher. The question has to be for what? Keep your eyes on Devontae Parker. He could also be a guy on the move. Now, I don't know if he's healthy or not. I haven't kept up with the Patriots, but if Devontae Parker is healthy, he could be another guy who the Patriots are looking to move on from. So keep your eye on the Patriots. I think when we jump to the AFC South, I think it's certainly going to be a team like Tennessee. Tennessee in that division is the oldest team and they probably have the highest contracts next to Jacksonville. Okay. Jacksonville isn't going to be a seller. Houston's not going to be a seller. And Indianapolis has nothing to sell, really, especially after just signing Jonathan Taylor. So I think it'll be certainly the Tennessee Titans. Look for them to maybe move on from Derrick Henry. He would be a great piece for a team to pick up, a team that's trying to solidify their backfield. He'll be a nice piece. Look for them to, they've already got off their safety. Look for them to move on from an offensive lineman or two as they're trying to hit reset offensively and freshen up things defensively. So I think Tennessee will be the seller in that division. And if we jump to the AFC West, I think it's going to be the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, they made a big move to get Russell Wilson. That fell apart last year and it's fallen apart this year. They have some big dollar wide receivers, both in Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. And both of those guys, have had trade rumors around them for a little while now. And I certainly think that the Denver Broncos could be looking to move one or both of their young wide receivers, and then they also could be looking to move a couple of defensive players, just like they moved off of Bradley Chubb on last year. So I think Denver will be the sellers in the AFC West. Let's jump to the NFC. Let's start with the South. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to be the sellers in that division. The Carolina Panthers, kind of overplayed their hand, outsmarted themselves of sorts. They moved up from number 8 to number 1, sacrificing their number 1 pick in 2024 to get the number 1 overall pick in 2023's draft. They took Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. That doesn't look like it's paid off thus far. They're having some letdown at the wide receiver position, so I'll look for a couple of their wide receivers to maybe be available. I know Terrence Marshall has been given an opportunity to seek a trade. Look for DJ Shark to maybe be on the move as well. And those are two guys I would like to see Baltimore sniff around a little bit on a low market deal that could have big dividends. DJ Stark is still 6'3", still with elite level speed, a deep threat, and maybe just with the right team, he could shine a little bit. And then Terrence Marshall is a young guy who has one more year after this year left on his rookie deal, who could also bring something to the Ravens that we don't have, a 6'3" big body receiver who has some 4'3" speed. So those two guys, I think. Brian Burns is the big ticket item down there in Carolina, and a lot of teams are going to be sniffing around Brian Burns. They have been for a couple of years now, and I think for Carolina to fully uh, recoup some of the capital they spent to move up, I think Brian Burns is the player that they could move off of in order to get a couple of draft picks, one of them being a first round, in order to regroup. And also Jeremy Chin, a big time safety, really nice player down there in Carolina. They could be looking to move him as he is in his last year of his deal, and also Dante Jackson, a speedy cornerback who's often hurt, but when he's available and playing, he's typically in good coverage. And then also a CJ Henderson, who is a former top 10 pick from a couple of years back. He's in the last year of his rookie deal, and they could be looking to get off him too. So Carolina certainly could be a seller. A couple of teams could pick um, with some draft capital. They could pick off a lot of these good players from the Carolina Panthers as they are full blown meltdown and then rebuild for sure. Let's jump to the NFC East. This division is a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna go two teams. I'm gonna go with the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins. I think Week 8 will tell us a lot about what they're going to do. Um, Both of these teams have some big money guys. For example, Washington Redskins Chase Young, I think, is in his last year of his rookie deal. He's a guy that the Baltimore Ravens have been linked to a couple of times. I would like to see them take a flyer on Chase Young for sure. Same kind of area in some ways. DC and Baltimore are not that far away, so he wouldn't have to do that much relocation. And I think that just a fresh start in a new city with an organization who wants you may be a good thing for Chase Young. So keep your eye on Washington to get rid of a couple of pieces. They also have Curtis Samuel, a speedy wide receiver. Um, Known to move the chains. So I see a couple of guys down there, and maybe even Terry McLaurin as they get ready to hit reset with Sam Howell. They may be looking to redo the whole offense altogether. And then the Giants, I don't know any of the Giants. I don't really even know any of their players other than Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. But Saquon Barkley has been rumored to be on the move for a couple of years now. So keep an eye on Saquon Barkley, who was once in a holdout and now is hurt again. Let's jump to the NFC West. I think the Arizona Cardinals could be sellers at the trade deadline. Buda Baker is a big time player, probably one of the top three safeties in the entire league who requested a trade. Last year they didn't trade him, but I think Arizona, as they are in rebuild, he is a big ticket item that they could certainly look to move on from and get a lot of draft capital in return as a team is looking to solidify a secondary. Also, the linebacker Simmons that they drafted out of Clemson could be a guy they're willing to get off of. And um, that's about all the good players I know that they have. They may even be willing to depart with one of their running backs at the trade deadline as well. So look for Arizona to be the team that's a seller in the NFC West. And then for the NFC North, probably Minnesota or Chicago, depending on how week 8 goes. Chicago is a team that's been, grabbing guys and signing guys to big money deals. Excuse me, they took in some weapons to put around Justin Fields, and that hasn't panned out. And so they could be looking to get off some big ticket items as they're looking to maybe hit reset at the quarterback position, because they actually will have, as they stand right now, they'll have a top 10 pick of their own, and they'll have the Carolina Panthers #1 overall pick as the Carolina Panthers is 0-6. So they could be looking to just hit reset at quarterback altogether. So they could certainly be looking to refresh that offense for sure. And keep your eyes on DJ Moore. Baltimore Ravens, keep your eyes on DJ Moore, who was on the move last year and with the right kind of price could be on the move again this year. Okay. Now, uh Minnesota, we've heard rumors about Danielle Hunter. They have a couple of nice secondary pieces that they may be willing to part ways with, because I certainly know that they're trying to get off of Kirk Cousins as he is entering, I believe, his last year of his deal. So keep your eye on those teams. Um, so let me know of the teams I talked about, man. Who would you like to see the Baltimore Ravens go after in a trade from the teams that I mentioned, or submit your own team that could be a seller, and drop your questions in the comment section, man. And I'll be sure to answer them. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we are out.